Welcome back to Famous People English Stories audiobook in minutes. For a lot of men, ending up living alone, well, that wasn't exactly in the 5-year plan, was it? It might have been loss or a divorce. Maybe the kids just finally flew the nest. And suddenly, the house is quiet. And at first, that quiet can feel, well, it can feel pretty heavy. But here's the question we're going to dig into. Is this really just an ending? Or could it be a beginning in disguise? We're going to explore how this time of solitude, this quiet chapter, might actually transform into a period of profound freedom, real peace, and maybe, just maybe, one of the most meaningful parts of your entire life. And let's be honest about that feeling right at the start. The house is quiet, but that silence can absolutely roar, can it? Even your own footsteps can sound strange. It's something so many people go through on this journey, that initial gut punch that something is missing. But just stick with me here, because what often happens is that right in the middle of all that silence, something else starts to show up. And it's not loneliness, it's clarity. So this big transformation, it really begins with reclaiming your world on the outside. This is the first, most concrete layer of freedom you get to experience. And it all starts with taking back control over your time, your space, and your choices. Think about it. For decades, your life was probably a long series of compromises, wasn't it? Full of obligations. Your schedule, what the house looked like, even where the money went. It was all a negotiation. That was a life of obligation. But now that shifts to a life of choice. You get to build your days around what actually matters to you, not because you have to, but because you want to. And what does that actually look like day to day? It's not about some huge dramatic change. It's the simple freedom of waking up when your body tells you it's ready, not when an alarm clock for someone else's job goes off. It's leaving the dishes in the sink for an hour because, hey, who cares? You'll get to them later. There's nobody to ask, nobody to please but yourself. This is exactly what Richard, a retired teacher, discovered. After just a week of living on his own, he found himself sketching again, picking up a guitar he hadn't touched in 20 years. He said he didn't realize how many little pieces of himself he'd packed away just to fit into the rhythm of a shared life. See, this kind of freedom, it isn't selfish. It's healing. It's remembering that your time is finally truly yours again. And that feeling of freedom just keeps expanding right into your home. Having complete and total control over your space, there's a deep comfort in that. And we're not talking about buying expensive furniture here. We're talking about creating meaning. It's about walking into a room and just feeling, yeah, this is me, I belong here. No more unspoken tensions, no more negotiations over a piece of art. Leo's story is just a perfect example. He's 70. He turned one whole wall into a memory wall full of old photos. He put his beat-up recliner right in the spot where the afternoon sun comes through the window, and he plays his old country music whenever he wants. His home isn't for a magazine. It's a sanctuary built just for him. And finally, there's this unexpected freedom that comes with your finances. After decades of stretching every single dollar for mortgages, for school tuition, for family needs, that huge weight just starts to lift. Financial freedom at this point in life isn't about becoming rich. It's about clarity. It's about spending your money on things that bring you comfort or peace or a little bit of joy, and doing it without an ounce of guilt. Okay, so we've started to reclaim the world on the outside. Now the journey turns inward. And this is where things get really interesting. This is where we explore the incredible healing that can happen when you stop running from the quiet and you actually start listening to it. Just stillness. Think about it. After years of constant noise, kids yelling, phones ringing, the TV always on, just the hum of a busy life, real, actual silence can feel weird, unsettling even. But if you can just sit with it for a bit, if you let it settle around you, it stops feeling like a loss and starts to feel more like warm sunlight. It asks for nothing. Take the story of Samuel. His entire life was spent in a loud, busy house. When he finally found himself alone, his first instinct was to fill the silence with the radio, the TV, anything. But one morning, he just didn't. He sat with his coffee in the quiet, and in that stillness, it hit him. He wasn't broken. He was just deeply, profoundly tired. And the silence became the place where he could finally start to heal. And the benefits of this are real. You can feel them. That constant low-level pressure to perform, to meet someone's unspoken expectations, it just melts away. And think what that does for you. Your entire nervous system finally gets a chance to reset. That means you start sleeping deeper. You worry less. Calm stops being this thing you're chasing, and it just becomes your new normal. And all of this leads us to what might be the most sacred part of this whole journey: rediscovering the person you are underneath all the roles you had to play. Husband, father, provider, employee, those were all true, of course, but they were never the whole story, were they? This is the question. The one life finally gives you the time and the space to actually ask yourself. For years, that question was buried under a mountain of responsibilities. You became what other people needed you to be. But now, when it's just your voice in the room, you get to wonder again. What do I actually like? What makes me feel alive? Thomas, a retired engineer, is the perfect example of this. With no schedule and nobody to take care of, he started reading philosophy, keeping a journal, and just taking photos of the river near his house at dawn. He wasn't doing it to impress anyone. He was doing it just to see the world and maybe himself with fresh eyes. See, you're not reinventing yourself. You're just uncovering the guy who's been there all along. In this process of rediscovery, it leads to two incredibly powerful results that might seem like they contradict each other at first. On one hand, you gain this incredible new sense of self-reliance, but at the exact same time, you find that your connections with other people can become surprisingly deeper. So let's break that down, right? The confidence that comes back, it's not the loud bravado of your youth. It's a quiet, steady competence. It comes from figuring out how to fix that leaky sink or just managing your own life. And at the same time, your relationships get better. You stop making small talk out of habit. When you see people, it's because you truly want to. That time apart actually makes the time together so much richer. So where does all this lead? What's the end game here? It leads to the ultimate gift of this chapter in life: living deliberately. It's about finding a kind of quiet magic in the ordinary moments that you used to be too busy to even notice. And this brings us to a totally new definition of joy. See, it's not about the big promotions or the fireworks of being young anymore. Instead, joy becomes this steady candlelight of just being present. It's in the warmth of the sun on your kitchen table, the steam coming off your morning coffee, the sound of rain on the roof. It's quiet, it's simple, and it's all yours. Ultimately, this entire journey really comes back to your home, to your space. The whole goal is to turn it from a place you just sleep and exist in into a space where you feel you are actively, consciously, and even joyfully living. And listen, you don't have to overhaul everything overnight. It can start with one small, deliberate choice. Tomorrow, move a chair to a sunnier spot. Put on that old album you haven't heard since you were 30. Tonight, don't fill the silence. Just sit with it for 1 minute. These aren't just little things. They are tiny acts of reclaiming your own life. And here is something I really want you to take to heart. This chapter of your life, it's not a consolation prize. It's not a mistake. After a lifetime of hard work, of raising others, of surviving setbacks and heartbreaks, of just showing up day after day, you have earned this. You have earned this freedom, and you have absolutely earned this peace. So let's end with a question for you to take with you. Looking around your own space, your own life right now, what is one small, simple change you can make this week to bring just a little more comfort or a little more meaning or a little more peace into your world? Don't let these years just drift by. Let them be the years that nourish you.